Welcome to day 33 of the federal election campaign. Election day is just 4 days away, so a gentle reminder that I'll be live streaming on Twitch on election night. I hope to see you there. I'm thinking I'll kick it off at 7:30 Eastern. Anyways, if you told me at Christmas that we'd be seeing headlines like these today, I would not have believed you. Yet here we are. Both the Toronto Star and the Globe and Mail have reported that the Conservative Party headquarters is scrambling to send volunteers to Pierre Poilievre's riding that he has held since 2004 because they're afraid it's going to be a tight race. The switch up of the electoral map is genuinely wild. And a lot of it is because of one man who just re-emerged yet again on the campaign trail. Sorry for the jump scare. That's right, after mostly biting his tongue when it comes to Canada in recent weeks, Donald Trump just yesterday decided to spout off some of his greatest hits when it comes to our country, including that we would be better off as a state.
Trudeau, who I call Governor Trudeau affectionately, but I asked him, why are we spending $200 billion to support Canada, to subsidize Canada? And he was unable to answer the question. I mean, why are we doing that? And I have to be honest, as a state, it works great.
Obviously, these comments reverberated through the campaign trail today. Mark Carney used this as more evidence pointing to the fact that our old relationship with the United States is over.
This is Canada. We decide what happens here. Yesterday was more proof, as if any were needed, that the old relationship with the United States is over. And proof that we need to chart a new path.
Meanwhile, Pierre Poilievre made an announcement today about Canada's electric vehicle mandate, which requires that 20% of new cars sold by 2026 have to be electric and 100% by 2035. Poilievre said he would scrap this mandate, but won't get rid of billions in federal agreements supporting automakers and battery plants. But Poilievre rooted this announcement in the context of Trump's renewed musings about upping auto tariffs, taking a lot of liberties and characterizing the EV mandate as a $20,000 Carney tax on cars that you buy.
And who benefits from all this? Foreign automakers. Tesla will benefit. Mark Carney wants you to pay a $20,000 tax on a gas-powered vehicle to pay credits to Tesla, a foreign automaker, sending our money and our jobs abroad once again. No wonder Donald Trump says he prefers when Liberals run Canada and keep the economy weak and costly.
That is a heavy misrepresentation because basically the regulations right now include a credit system that gives auto manufacturers flexibility on meeting the sales target. They can earn and bank credits worth $20,000 for each sale of electric or hybrid cars, and they'll lose those credits if they don't meet targets. So no, it's not a Carney tax, as Poilievre put it. Meanwhile, Jagmeet Singh told reporters that Canada will never be the 51st state.
We will never be the 51st state, not now, not ever.
But Trump's comments weren't the only thing that Carney was pressed on today. He faced a lot more questions about his characterization of a call he held with Trump back in March. Following that call at the time, Carney told journalists that, quote, the president respected Canada's sovereignty today, both in his private and public comments. That certainly seemed to be true in what we saw publicly. Trump actually referred to Carney as our prime minister when he had been calling his predecessor, Trudeau, Governor Trudeau. But Radio-Canada reported today that its sources told them that Trump did, in fact, mention the 51st state issue on the phone call with Carney. So that's not exactly respecting our sovereignty in that private call. So reporters wanted to know, why did Carney say Trump respected our sovereignty if he was on that call talking about the 51st state stuff? As reporters repeatedly pressed him on the conversation on Thursday, Carney acknowledged that Trump did bring up the 51st state threat in the phone call, but said that he was portraying the call accurately because overall Trump respected Canada's sovereignty. I'll let you listen to how he tried to square that circle.
Were you being truthful?
He absolutely did. He absolutely did. Look, the president has certain things in his mind that he reverts back to all the time. But treated me as the prime minister, not as something else. I'm not even going to say the word he used to use about my predecessor. Treated me as the prime minister. We had discussions as sovereign nations. We agreed as sovereign nations that these negotiations will begin after the election on Monday. And that is how it was reported back, and that's absolutely accurate. So that's the treatment. Now, look, the President says lots of things, but the essence of the discussion and where we moved the conversation to was exactly what I said. Treated us with respect as a sovereign nation. We have these negotiations coming, and that's, just to be clear, that is what's at stake.
One thing I did find kind of surprising on this issue was that when Poilievre was asked about it, he left it up to Carney to answer and instead just used it as an opportunity to reiterate his stance on the U.S. and differentiate it from Carney's.
Well, that's a question for Mr. Carney to answer. I wasn't there. But what's clear is we will stand up for our sovereignty. We will never be an American state. And we will focus on what we can control, which is to reverse the disastrous liberal economic policies that Mark Carney advised Justin Trudeau to take.
Honestly, there wasn't that much new stuff on the campaign trail today because I think as things are winding down and we're in the final days before the vote, the leaders are just sort of solidifying their last pitches to Canadians. But I think a lot of people have probably made up their minds. Mark Carney is on the offense, trying to get as strong of a mandate as possible, though he won't say the M word, majority. But he's been asking people to vote Liberal no matter who they voted for in the past. So he's trying to swipe some seats. Based on location, mostly NDP ones these days. Meanwhile, NDP leader Jagmeet Singh's closing message has really been, please don't give Mark Carney a majority, send enough New Democrats to Ottawa that they can push back and hold him to account when it comes to potential cuts. Because, he said today, Carney is not a progressive. Meanwhile, Pierre Poilievre is a bit all over the place. He was in Halifax, which was playing a bit of offense. Despite that, some of his announcements lately don't really seem geared towards winning over swing voters. Like announcing a plan to empower police to arrest people forced to live in tent cities and homeless encampments during a housing crisis. And today, almost drawing direct attention to his lack of a climate plan, announcing that he intends to repeal the electric vehicle mandate. There is some strategy in the latter because it's good timing with Trump's musing about the auto tariffs, but overall, is this just Pierre Poilievre trying to ensure that he's seen as being a clear conservative, which is the exact same criticism that he wasn't a clear enough conservative that was levied at Aaron O'Toole when the Conservatives, after he lost the election, decided to topple his leadership? Could this be Pierre Poilievre already trying to fortify himself against challenges to his leadership? Because Conservatives don't usually keep their leaders if they don't win the election they're running in. I guess we'll just have to wait and see, but that's it for your election roundup today. I'll be back here tomorrow with the latest from the campaign trail, but until then, what do you think of all this?